What's good, Liberators? Fingers here, and this is Dx2 Demon Review. And today, well, boys, it's finally happened. We've got wood, and we're going to talk about it. Erlkonig, the 5-star demon just released today, and let's check him out, see if he's worth our while. And we'll start with the lore. An evil wood spirit appearing in Germany's Schwarzwald. Schwarzwald. Gotta get that in there if you want to speak true German. He charms people and leads them to their deaths. His name means Alder King, and true to his name, he is the ruler of the alders of the Black Forest. Alder trees tend to begin life in places with damp soil, but can grow in even the most barren environments. It is said that the Erlkonig is the strongest of the alder trees. Humans who encroached upon his forest were cleverly charmed and led to their deaths, just like a beautiful woman, which gave rise to tales of a demonic tree brimming with evil. Pretty cool description, Sega. Thumbs up. More of this. Whoever you got doing your localization work now, I'm liking them. They're picking up the slack. As for his stats, you can see that he is a thick mofo. Got that vitality, 202 naturally. You can spike that up to 222, giving him a nice baseline of health. Throw in a couple panels for that extra 500 HP. You can get him up there into the high 3,000s, 4,000 range. I am sure. I have yet to fully experiment with him, but I've played with him a little bit. His magic stat, 180, not great, but hey, you can perk that up to 200, which I will eventually. I'm probably just going to play to his strengths, 20 in magic, 20 vitality, 10 in luck, and roll from there. And as any good piece of wood should be, he is weak to fire. So, something to watch out for. But he also nulls darkness, which will be useful for what I plan on using him for. You might have other ideas, but we'll get into that. So let's check out his skills. Transferable Maziodyne. Strongest transferable electric skill, electric sweep skill, electric magic damage, all enemies, 120. But bear in mind, he has no pierce effect, so your mileage on this particular skill may vary. Power of Life, the trait that seems to come with every single one of the new wood demons, minus 30% chance of receiving status ailments. Keep this in mind if you're running Origate now, because of the event. If you're running, like I was, an Undead Alice team, where I just had Nekomata curse them, and then Alice one-shot them, that's not gonna play really well, because all the special demons that are popping up have this ailment resistance to them, so watch out for that. Activates following chain effect at the beginning of the first turn, enters a state of Lydia. So he starts off every fight with Lydia, and he regenerates. What's Lydia last for? 3 turns, I believe. He gets a nice little health boost every turn. So that's something to keep him alive. Hey, not bad. And his unique skill, the Alder King, activates the following chain effect at the beginning of own turn. Heals 15% HP of all party members. And activates the following chain effect at the start of the enemy's turn. Reduces attack of all enemies by 20%. And that sounds pretty good, It only lasts 1 turn, but he triggers it every turn. So long as this guy is alive, he's going to continually cast Tarunda at the start of every turn. Just having him means you've got auto Tarunda every turn going off. And that plays into what they're going for here. He's a bulwark. He's very slow. He's meant for your stall teams, for your protracted boss battles. His effectiveness in PvP I see being limited. Here's a little prediction from your old pal Fingers. You're going to see this guy pop up in PvP for a few weeks, and then he's going to fade away, as so many new demons are wont to do in the PvP sense. Because, a lot of people misconstrue shiny and new with good and effective. And I can see you making some use of this guy. Hey, having a debuff, an attack debuff every turn. You're probably going to see him pop up on those double intimidating stance teams. And I just don't see it being as effective as people might think off rip, but we shall see. There's no... A lot of times that a demon on paper and a demon in function are two different things where you look at him and you're like, oh, this demon's trash. For example, I thought Cardi KO was trash when I first saw him, and now I use him all over the place. So practical application and what we see on paper here may be wildly, wildly different, but we shall see. This is my initial prediction. If I get it wrong, y'all can say I told you so and make fun of me all you want, because I'll deserve it. I fused him in the Origami archetype for Mahmudodyne, which is the strongest dark transferable sweep skill. And again, he does not have a pierce effect, but I fused him just to improve my Alter World dark farming team. Well, more so for his second panel, which we will get into momentarily. Now, as for his transferable skills, I haven't skilled him up yet, but it depends on what you're using him for. Me, I'm just going to be using him for Alter World, because in PvP, fingers don't run slow, So I'm going to be giving him Dark Boost and anything to help perk up Mahmudodyne, pretty much. But if you're running him in PvP, you've got a few things to consider here. His other archetypes, his Psychic archetype in particular, has Null Mortal. His Protector archetype has Rakarmdra. Now, you're going to want to go, if you're running him in PvP, or if that's your idea, get the Psychic archetype, get Null Mortal, because you can transfer Rakarmdra onto him, which is what people are going to do. Mark my words. They're going to have him in Psychic archetype for Null Mortal, and then they're going to transfer over Rakarmdra and have them both on there, because that's what people do with these heavy HP, slow demons. They're the last to stay alive, and if you can't one-shot this guy, then he's going to be there to Rakarmdra everyone and start the whole cycle of fun again. But you're going to want to consider the transferables of Rakarmdra, Samakarme. Since his Power of Life skill gives minus 30% chance of him receiving status ailments, you might want to consider Infernal Mask, which reduces that by a further 60%. Prayer, which will clear ailments of your team. Silent Prayer, which basically resets the battlefield and wipes away all ailments and buffs on all sides. Now, buffs not in the attack up, defense up sense, but in the, if you have the Null Mortal defensive buff up, or if you have Lydia buff up, those buffs, and it also wipes away all ailments. So something to consider there, and I believe that's what you're going to be seeing a lot of. And of course, your Endures, your Enduring Souls, your Enduring Soul Pluses, those kind of things that help keep him alive even more. Very, very basic. If you've played the game long enough, you know the type of things people put on their stall demons. That's what you're going to see. So expect it, live it, love it, burn right through it. Brands. Again, highly depends on whatever you're running him for. Me, just Alter World, so straight spell brands, magic for days. If you're running him in PvP, odds are you're going to go with life brands. Just go with life brands, and probably guard brands. You could go with ward brands if you really want to do the ailment defense. Evasion brands are pretty much a lost cause on him. Shield brands, if you think you're going into a heavily magic-based ranking, hey, I would say life brands, and then the others, hey, dealer's choice. And as for the panels, Okay, panel 1, plus 20% to max HP. That never hurts. And you also get 250 health with that first panel, which for this particular demon, health is the name of the game. So can't go wrong there. Me, since I'm only using him for Alter World, I went straight for the second panel, but I'm probably going to 3-panel this guy just because I've got 50 million mag and nothing to really spend it on at the moment. And I do like the concept of this second panel here. While the one with this skill is alive, minus 20% dark damage received by all allies, which is why he's really great for farming Alter World Dark, because he reduces dark damage for everyone by 20%. And the more damage you reduce, the more overbreak you get, the faster you can farm it. Fantastic. And the baseline for it, you get magic defense. So again, helps out with Alter World farming. Great stuff. And I just like the concept of having demons who are elemental bulwarks. You know, you're going into a fight, you know they're going to be attacking you heavy with fire. Well, you bring Amaterasu. Her second panel is similar to this, except with fire damage. And this is the one element that didn't have a party-wide damage reduction for an element, and now we do. They finally added in this guy. Now we've got dark, and you can get a defensive demon for every element. If you want to know which those are, I did a video for each of the Alter World farms, and each of those demons is displayed prominently in each of those. You can check those out. And finally, the big Mamma Jamma panel 3, plus 25% to HP healing skill effectiveness. So I'm assuming that this applies to his Alder King 15% HP of all party members. I'm assuming it perks that up and it doesn't remain a flat 15% of HP. Otherwise, this panel would make no sense. Activates the following chain effect at the start of enemy turn, plus 20% to defense of all party members. Now, this again couples with his Alder King skill, where you reduce the attack of all enemies by 20% every turn. So every turn, you're going to get a defense buff, they're going to get an attack nerf, which is big money, especially if you're doing a boss battle where the boss is really, really, really fast and you can't outspeed him. Now you've got a pretty much guarantee you're going to survive that first wave of attacks, and then you're going to be able to set up your own buffs and everything else that goes along with a protracted battle, which he would be aces for, especially with that third panel. So let's check out his other archetypes before we do a quick run of Alter World Dark so you can see this guy in action. Okay, the Origami archetype, Mamudo Dime, which we already discussed. The Protector archetype, Rakamdra. Now, this one is tempting, but again, Rakamdra is a fairly common transferable skill at this point, and granted, this has the -1 MP reduction to it, but odds are you're going to be firing off Rakamdra with 8 MP. Why is that? Okay, you got this guy in your team in PvP, you're going second. That's just happening. You're going second, which means he's going to start out with 8 MP. And what's going to happen in that first wave? Some of your demons are going to get knocked down, and then he's going to use Rakamdra and bring him right back up. He's already got that 8 MP. He's yet to use his MP for anything else. So that MP reduction, its viability is going to be limited unless there's an Undead Alice or a Mother Harlot sucking the life out of you. And that can be countered with Divine Brands if you're concerned about that. But I would say transfer the Rakamdra and go for the Null Mortal, which nulls mortal attacks, which for the uninitiated, mortal attacks are instant death attacks. So like a demon uses this attack and you just die. So these are not extremely rare, but you can't transfer this skill. Only select demons, very popular demons in PvP, mind you, only select demons get Null Mortal. So odds are if you're running a demon in PvP and they have access to Null Mortal, get it, because you can usually transfer other skills to make up for whatever other archetype skill you are missing out on in that event. And finally, we have Drain Electric, which baffles me because he's weak to fire. Come on, Sega. The least you could have done was cover his weakness. Whatever. Elemental archetypes suck. Get fucked. So let's do a quick run of Alterworld before I wrap this up. Nope. That's a duel. We do not want to duel. Okay, and here we go. And I did a couple of runs this morning, and I was able to shave 19 seconds off my time. I had Pazuzu in there, and switching him out, now, hey, 20 seconds less, give or take. So let's check out what this guy brings to the table. There goes the Alder King, which is crucial in this regard because I gave everyone spell brands so they'd hit. Notice the HP of each of my demons here. It's not great. Beelzebub sitting at 1600, Lilith a little under 1800, and Erlkonig, 1500. He hasn't got any panels on him yet. So having that attack debuff is kind of a mixed blessing in that the more damage they throw at you, the more overbreak you get, because the more you're resisting, the more you're taking, you get more overbreak, the more damage they do. But at the same time, it allows this team to survive reliably without having, you can just set it to auto and forget about it. And when you're farming anything, be it Origate, Brands of Sin, or Alterworld, reliability is the name of the game. I'm more than willing to add 10 seconds to my each round's farm time if it makes it 100% reliable, where I can just set it and forget it. I think all of us, at the end of the day, we're about to go to sleep, and we're like, oh, my stamina's full. You know what? Plug in your phone, auto, you set it down, you go to sleep. And then you come back, everything's been done properly, and that's what you want. That's why we have auto. And I really like that aspect of the game where creating an auto team becomes part of the calculus there, where you want to set skills so the demons function in a certain way during auto battle. Whereas if you were manualing them, you could do a little more, but the auto AI is set appropriately, and it's what you want it to be. I like that aspect of the game. And finally, I just want to compliment I love his design. So he's got the whole druid motif going, right? Except his cloak and hood is a bunch of gnarled tree branches. And look at that face, man. That is cool, man. That compliments to the character modeler who did this design, because I think he looks fantastic. And that, my friends, is all I can say about him. Give him a shot if you like to roll slow. And remember, folks, even though you got wood, don't get captured.